Hi guys, welcome to our channel. If you're new here, make sure you guys first of all subscribe up here I think, and hit the notification bell. We're Julia and Chantal with Growing Up Without Borders, and we've traveled pretty much almost, I wouldn't say the world yet, but we've traveled to 90 countries with our 3 girls. We took them out of school, and we're seeing lots and many cool things around the world, and we decided to create a video about common mistakes you make while you're traveling and 20 mistakes not to do, as we have. So here they are in order, all right? So who's going to go first? Me?
Yeah.
Okay, number 1. We're notorious for doing this. I think it's because we're optimistic, but it's trying to fit too much into your schedule. So when we go somewhere, we want to see it all, we want to do it all, we want to experience it all, and then we end up stressed out because we're at one place and the next one closes at a certain time, and then we're rushing to the other one, and it seems like we do this over and over again, and for some reason we just haven't learned our lesson. But that's one advice I give everyone. Just think of everything you want to do and then cut it in half, and that's probably what you will be able to get to see and do.
So number 2 is having an app for the currencies, because when you get to a different country you want to know what the money is like and how it works. And we like to use this one app.
It's called XE.
Yeah, and basically with this app we can see different currencies, and it's really good so you don't have to get ripped off, or you know how much it is and stuff.
Super helpful. So before you cross into a country, if you're crossing by land or flying, if you just download it, then you know, and it saves it offline, so you can in 1 second quickly convert and know right away what the price is or not. Okay, so number 3, again, it's another app. It's not having Google Translate. So make sure you have Google Translate, but download the language. So if you're going into a country like any Russian countries and you speak English, it's so different that it's really hard to get by. The letters are different, everything's different. And so that happened to us in Belarus. And thankfully, I had the not just the app downloaded, but the actual language downloaded. So when we came to the border, they weren't going to let us go through because of an issue with car insurance and everything. And thankfully, I had the app, so I was able to communicate. And they were like, "Oh yeah," and everything went well. So it's not really a mistake we made, but it could be a mistake if you don't download it.
Okay, so number 4 is always carrying cash, because you might think, well, nowadays, like everyone would take cards. But there's some places that don't take cash, and maybe like the toll roads, especially if you're, I don't know where you are, but maybe the cards, they don't work in the toll machine, so always having cash is definitely recommended.
Yeah, that kind of is like a 2-for-1 point, because having cash, small change in the local currency, right?
Yeah.
So oftentimes when you're at an airport and you're taking out bills, you might get big bills. So I would go and buy maybe a coffee, a pack of gum, something so that you get the small change, so that when you hit the road and you're up against a toll, maybe they might not take your card because it's from a different country. Most do, but we've run into it many times where we're like, oh shoot, they don't take this card in this country, and you're stuck at a toll with no cash, and it's really hard. Now you've got piles of cars behind you, it's embarrassing, and so just keep small change with you at all times in that currency. Okay, so number 5 is carry US cash with you as well. So oftentimes when you're going to cross into a border, depending on the country, if they require visas, you can often pay still with US dollars, and some countries like Mozambique, it was in US dollars that we had to pay. So, and they required big bills, like they didn't want to take 20s. We're not sure if that was just like a side deal thing that they had going on. But anyhow, if you have US cash, usually you can get by with your visa requirements.
Number 6 is always checking for what kind of visas you need for going into the country. Because some countries might require more things and some might be easy. But like when you go to South Africa, we didn't know this at first, but you need the long form certificate for your kids. And we just had 2 short forms and 1 long one, so you have to make sure you know what you need when you go there.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck at a border and we were there the whole day, and then we had to go back a few days later when we had the proper information. So definitely one to make sure you have. So number 7 is having photocopies of your important documents and your important papers. So whether it's insurance or passports, you don't want to be stuck somewhere where you need something and you've lost it, or you've left it somewhere, you've misplaced it, whatever. So have those information papers with you on hand, or at least saved on your computer, and keep it separate from the other item. So we did have to do this once, and thankfully I had it scanned and a copy on a computer, and it saved the day for us to literally leave the country and get into the next one. So that's really, really important.
So for number 8 is having a packing list. Maybe you're organized, you don't need this, but for some people, like once one of us forgot our underwear. I mean, thankfully it was just a small trip, but having a packing list, you always have your stuff.
And you can buy that anywhere.
Yeah, so it doesn't really, it's okay.
But even the amount of times like we go and come and
Yeah.
such, if you have a list, it's just like a quick...
boom, boom, okay, I got that.
Yeah.
Really helpful.
We'll have to do a video on our packing. Number 9, always do a walkthrough the hotel room or wherever you're staying to make sure that you haven't forgotten something. I don't know how many times we have left power bars, chargers,
Keyboards.
Yeah, we've left. And we know to do this, but we still do this. It's like the last person has to be like, who's the last one to leave? And then keep an extra bag so that you have all those little messies that fit into your little extra bag, because it's like a nuisance. You're like, oh yeah, we forgot this, and now you have nowhere to put it, right? So keep an extra bag. Always keep an extra bag in your bag as well for grocery shopping. There's another side tip. I think we'll do a travel hack video next, because I think we have so many little travel hacks that we can share with you guys.
Okay, so number 10 is bringing choice. So now you might think, okay, your kids might need choice, but once we went to Asia, we were 10, 8, and 12, and we brought a whole bag of Lego, and that took up a lot of room. But actually, by the time you're moving, and it's not really, you can build it, but it's not really...
They didn't play with it. I
mean, maybe little choice, but some choice you don't really need. And you learn so much and you see so much, right? You're not really playing, you know?
Don't really have time to play when you're moving around. Number 11, it could be a no-no or a do it for sure. So I'll let you guys decide on this one, or maybe comment below what you think. But in my opinion, don't buy the souvenirs at the start of your travels. So it depends, of course. If you're going for a week, who cares, right? But many times when we're traveling, I'll give you an example of when we were in Swaziland, we still had many places to see, and we bought this beautiful big elephant candle on top of it, and it's hot, and so like we had to carry this thing in and out everywhere, and we were so worried that it was melting, and so like just it's not worth it. Like don't, what else do we do? Once we had volcano rocks with us.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And we literally chugged those around in a suitcase, and it was like, you know, extra weight and everything. So in my opinion, don't buy it until like the very end, and then buy your souvenir that you want to bring home. But in retrospect, sometimes you might be traveling and you see something so nice, and you might not see that again for like only back in that one specific city. So in that case, maybe you do need to buy it. So that's why I'm saying it could go both ways.
Okay, so number 12 is overpacking. Because sometimes even I like to bring lots of clothes, but it actually just becomes a lot of weight. And so what you need to do is just bring clothes that can mismatch and that can get dirty. And you can always find stores. So if you ever need more clothes and laundry, there's everywhere. So.
But what about shoes?
Well, you just have to bring shoes that I guess are comfortable and stylish. And
that go with everything. Number 13, having not enough time between flights. So make sure, sometimes when you book flights, even if the company is the one, you know, making the direct flight and it shows like pretty much direct, but you have a layover, sometimes they don't calculate it right, even the airline companies. And so, for example, Heathrow is probably the worst airport, because sometimes when you arrive, you have to check out and check back in, and it's a whole process. So you need at least 2 hours. And you see that your layover time is maybe an hour and a half, and you're like, oh, that's plenty of time. Well, it's not. So make sure you're informed of the size of the airport and all the time schedules and stuff, so that you don't miss your flight, because then it becomes a bit of a nuisance, especially if you're flying from an overseas flight and you're exhausted and all that stuff too.
Okay, so number 14 is always making sure you have extra time. Like when we look on Google Maps, it says 4 hours. We always want to add on 2 hours by the time you stop, and traffic. And sometimes the roads aren't the same, sometimes they're bumpy, sometimes smooth, it depends, you know?
Yeah, and in certain countries, like the Ukraine, I would say double Google. Google Maps says 6, you need 12. Literally. Number 15 is getting cash at the airport as soon as you arrive. And so it's just fast, there's always cash machines, ATMs there, so make sure you just go out, grab cash, and have that on you, so that you just are prepared, so that when you leave, you need to take a taxi, whatever you're doing, you have enough on you. So
Okay, so number 16 is always confirming like the price of the taxi, because lots of times with our family, when we start driving, then it becomes higher or what, like that. So make sure you have your price settled or negotiate.
We've learned even before you get in the car, like negotiate and
get it down.
Get it down pat, and then be really clear, because we've even had times where we said and they said, and then all of a sudden they changed it after the fact. So it's like, what? We've even now sometimes paid before as we're going, just so that it's like 100%. Number 17, always alert your credit card company before you travel. So, because we've been traveling for so many years now, we haven't had this problem in a very, very long time. But I know it still exists. I think that if you don't call your credit card company, you might go make a transaction somewhere and your card will be flagged and they'll lock you out. And so then sometimes if you're in a different time zone, you have to wait for the bank to open. That could be embarrassing, chaotic, and no fun. So that did happen to us when we first started traveling, and so that's a definite must do.
So number 18 is not having your expectations set too high, because sometimes they might not be what you expect, or things might, So what we like to do is not expect anything, and then when you get there, be amazed by everything.
And we always fall short on this. Oftentimes now, Europe is not always the best for customer service, and we even know this. And so we'll be in Europe, and then our expectation is still pretty high. We're coming from stateside, Canada side. We're used to really good customer service. So when we don't get that, we're kind of shocked. And I don't know why, but that's one area we have to work on still. So, but yeah, Julia's right. Okay, so number 19, have things that are important like your blood type and certain maybe medicine that you take, or all those kind of things, so that you don't ever end up in a situation where it's the middle of the night in your home country or vice versa, and you're calling back to get certain blood types. That happened to us. It was scary. They couldn't find it, and it was like a chaos. So it's just really important to know, because you never know what kind of situation you might be in.
So number 20 is knowing your passport expiry date, because certain countries, when you want to go in or you need to apply for a visa, they'll say, well, you need 6 months in advance before it expires, or
they don't let you in or fly.
Yeah.
That, and having enough papers and pages in your visa, in your passport. We've been stuck in the middle of a desert crossing into Bolivia, right?
Yeah.
Peru, Bolivia. And anyway, we had to convince the guy to stamp on this little tiny area, because we didn't have enough pages. So make sure you have enough pages and all those kind of things available in your passport. Guys, we're either going to switch up the number 20, or this is a bonus one for you. But check out the picture that we're going to put on the screen. This is what happens if you wear new shoes and you're going to go walk in a city. So this might not happen in certain countries when you're not walking so much, but in Europe you do walk a lot. And poor Tyler, he bought new shoes, and we walked that day so much, and he was so sore. So that's one of the things to avoid. Just don't buy new shoes. Wear the shoes that you're already wearing, or wear them in before you go on your trip. So there we go, guys. We really hope you enjoyed our video on some of the mistakes not to do, and hopefully this will save you while you're planning your next trip. And make sure you guys
give us a thumbs up.
Yep.
And comment below if you've made these mistakes before.
Let us know where you're watching from, because we'd love to know. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye-bye.